our agenda is to discuss about these topics. Okay, so events, ALV, BAPI, and interfaces. So it's a big topic. So like events, when like if you remember, when I was writing the piece of code in SE38, so I was using something called a startup selection, right? So that is also one of the event. So basically, what is an event? Event is a SAP ABAP is an event-driven programming language. Okay, it is based on the events, not line by line. There is no mandatory event in a report program. So basically, it is helpful to control the flow of the program. Okay, so if the program contains no explicitly defined event blocks, then for the entire block, the startup selection is the default by default event which it takes, right? So below are some of the events available with the ABAP programming. So first we'll go with the theory,
What is
and then
startup
we will show.
selection?
Yes, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So there is, bit by bit I have written what all theories are there for the startup selection event, load of program and all. And then I will show you one program. Okay. And we will see how those events are actually getting triggered, correct, in the program whenever we are writing. So how those events are getting triggered. Okay. So first event which gets loaded is this load of program. Okay, this event is used to load the program into the memory for execution, and this is the first event in the execution sequence. So there is a sequence through which these events get triggered. Okay, first is this load of program. It is triggered each time whenever a program is called. Then there is something called as initialization, where we initialize our variables. Okay, any default values or anything, whatever we want to assign to those variable declaration, and those things will be done in the initialization. Okay, this name suggests like, okay, will have to initialize those variables. You can use it to initialize the input fields of the selection screen or change the default values of those. Correct. So then we have something called as add selection screen output. So we design the selection screen via this parameters and your select options, right? So in that case, we have something called as add selection screen output. So if you want to manipulate the dynamic selection screen, okay, at that time this add selection screen output comes into the picture. After that, we have this add selection screen events, which has add selection screen on field, request for field, and on help request. So that means what? Suppose in the parameters you are using one field and you want some custom F4 help. If you remember, I spoke to you regarding this custom search help, right, which I created. So if I want to manipulate those, I can use these events to make use of that events. Okay, and after that actually comes the start of selection. Okay, so this is called as the start of selection, which is actually where when you are writing the actual business logic, it all comes under that start of selection. Okay, this is also an event which when if the user executes the program either by pressing the execute button or a fail. I'll show you in the program what is the start of selection event, and the which business logic whatever we are writing, it comes under the start of selection. Then you have something called as the top of page. The top page is for the header page. Okay. So if you want to give any header in your ALV list report or something, so in that case you will be using this like top of page. Okay. Then you have something called as the end of the page. It is for the page footers. So if you want to give the page number or something like that, so in that case we will be using this end of the page, and we need to reserve some lines for the footer as well. Okay. And after that, like end of selection, if you want to use the same sequence of statements in several programs, we can code them once in the include program and call it in other programs whenever it is required. So yesterday in our subroutines, there is something called as value, pass the parameters by value, pass the parameters by reference, and there was one more thing was pass by value and result. So I have made use of this end of selection. Okay, just if you go to the recording, you can see that. So that will give you a clear picture when the end of selection comes into picture. Okay, and now also we will just see one example. And the above events are available under the classical reports. I have not gone to the interactive reports yet. So when we come to the interactive reports, apart from all these events, we have some 4 to 5 extra events like at line selection. It will be triggered when the user double click on any list line. Then something called as just I think this one. The top of page during line selection. This event is used to write something on the top of every page. And at PF, this is for function buttons, and user command is clicks on any custom buttons of the GUI. So this we will come to know once we start the interactive reporting. Okay, so that you don't need to worry. So first we will see all the events which we saw for the classical program, right? So actually I have written down one program already for the events, and here I will show you how and when the events are getting triggered. So if you see this, like I have used, so I was telling you about the include programs, right? This is for that modularization, how we need to do the modularization. Let
Got
me
it.
do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see. Thank you.
Okay. So if you see this, like if you see this, this is the spelling of declaration is a little bit okay, fine. That we can adjust. So if you see, this is how you will modularize your piece of code. So first, what I have done, I have created a okay. So I have created an include which is for the declaration. So this is for all the declaration of my structures and my like internal table and the work area. Clear? So first is that. After that, I have done something called as include initial. This is for the selection screen. Okay. So I have some selection screen, and I have used the parameters also using the radio buttons, right? After that, there is something called as fetch. Okay, so this is where my business logic is there. So I have created another include my for my fetching. Okay, so that your why we need the modularization I discussed yesterday, so that your program becomes readable and understandable, right? So and after that, like I have used to first I'm fetching those records using those variables which I have declared in my include declaration, and then this is for displaying my records, right? Loop at itineral. How we were doing that in the single program, we are just using the includes to display. And then we have something called a Z header. This is for just the header information. And I will show you how it is actually working. And then this is something called as where I am manipulating the screen fields. Okay. So, so let me go to the events now. Just a minute. Yeah. So once I did all the declaration, then under the initialization, I have used something called as perform initia, right? So in this, what I have done is the variable, the select options which I've used. So this is my select option, which I have used here, s underscore Vebelen and Ebelen. So this is my select option. So I am initializing those things in here, right? From 4969 to 4975. Since select option acts as a table, if you remember. So what I'm doing is I'm giving a range of value in here, and then I'm appending the s underscore Evelyn, right? So after that, like I told you that start of selection, under the start of selection, we can write our business logic. So what I have done, so since include h, if you see that z fetch, I have just used this perform fetch in here, correct? And I have kept it in this include. Okay. So in the include, I have kept this perform fetch. And then I have something called as end of selection where I will display the result, and something called as top of page where I will display the perform like that header thing, that header classical report for the sales information. And then something called as add selection screen output where I am manipulating the screen level of things. Okay. So what is the meaning of this one? So it means like if my first parameter is equal to x, okay, so loop at the screen. Since it is a screen level, so if I want to modify, so if you see this, okay, you see this is my parameters, right? So if I press the button here, then I should not be able to do this. Then see the, can you see the screen change, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this is what I'm able to do it through that. Okay, so let's do a debugger, like let's put a debugger and see which all events are coming for, like in sequence, what all sequence it is coming, right? So I will put a, let's say I will put a set, okay, active, sorry. So first your load of program comes, but load of program is not an event which we write, but generally whenever it can be asked in the interview or anywhere, always whenever the program gets loaded, the load of the program events get triggered. After that, your add selection screen output comes into picture. So what it does, why add selection screen? Because we are creating the selection screen first. So if you want to manipulate anything, so first of all, this will get triggered, right? So what we are doing, so perform modification. So what we have done, so based on that radio buttons, we are changing that screens, right? So let's go in there and see what we are doing here. So what I am doing, so first screen, whatever is coming. So if for that I have used one, let me show you the program and the debugger. Okay. First time it will be a bit difficult to understand, but this event sequence I just wanted to make you understand. I have not come to your interactive report yet. So in that actually you will get to understand what is the meaning of this one, user command, right? Just let me go there. Yeah. So what I have done, I have used this user command, right, for this parameter. And this one is for default. So PPO and PSO. So if you see this, my, okay, I triggered it. Huh. So PPO is the default one, which is coming by default, and PSO, and this is the screen which I am using. Okay. And for PSO, the another screen will be displayed. So in my debugger, if you see, now my PPO is X, correct? So in that case, what it will do is it will go to the screen group 1, and then it will run through all the screen elements and it will display the screen which I have designed for that PPO, correct? So this is how it will be. And then once you come out of it, okay, it creates the instructor constructor, and then it, when I display here, okay, this comes into the standard codes. Okay. So first we saw this one, right? After that, what we will do is, say for example, if I give any particular value to the purchasing document, okay, PPO for the purchasing document, if I give it, just let me know where you are not having a clear idea whatever I'm saying, and then I'll clarify that out. So you have something called as this purchasing document. Now let's say I give some value here, correct? So again it will take, because I have given a session point, so for the F4 also it will give it will come to the debugger, and I will just choose any value from the debugger. Okay, say for example I'll take this to 185. Okay, and here also I will give some value, again it will go to this. And I give a range of value. For this range, it will fetch the record. That is what it will do. Yeah. So now I execute it. Okay. there is, okay, lower limit is greater than, okay, let's do this 370 to 374. Okay, 374. Okay, and once when I execute it, just one second. Initialization, perform fetch, perform display, perform header. Okay, let's execute it. So first it came to this initialization, and then it is actually populating the value to this. Okay, and then we are appending the value. Then it comes to your perform modification. Okay, so this modification it does based on the parameters whatever we have selected. Then it goes to the selection screen. Then we give some value here, 02674. Then when we execute it, again it comes down here. Okay, it goes to the fetch, which I was telling. Because I have given that selection screen option and executed, it came to fetch, and whatever is there in this webip s underscore weblen, okay, based on that, it will select that query. Okay, and let's see what is the value. So we have some certain records here. Then it comes to your display. Okay, so it will display based on that one. Okay, that means it came to that end of selection, and after the end of selection it comes to that top of page, right? So once that top of page is done, okay, then we execute it. So we are able to see this report. You saw the sequence of the events, correct? So it was according to whatever we discussed. So first the load of the program. Okay, first the load of the program, then it came to the initialization, then it came to this add selection screen. Okay, and after that it went to start of selection, then the top of page and the end of the selection. Correct? So this is how the sequence of the event comes into picture. And when we go to your interactive reports, right, at that time we have few more other events as well, which we will see, that which I discussed, like at PF and this at line selection and at PF and at user command. At that time we will get to know that what all these things are for. So at user command comes into picture whenever we are clicking on any custom buttons of the GUI. Okay, so topic was ALV grid. So what I will do is I will create a program for you. Earlier, what we were doing for the displaying of the internal table and the work area was we were using the write query. Correct? Today, what we will do is we will use something called as ALV report. So what do you mean by ALV report? So if I want to display my reports uh, in tabular format, in that case, I will be using this ALV grid display. Okay. So there are in like you can display this your report output or layout either in a simple report or a block report or in a hierarchical report. Okay, so for as of now, for the beginners, what I will do is I will show you how to display your table output, okay, in ALV grid display format. Okay, so let me go and create one program. Just Z ALV demo. Okay. You're able to see the screen properly, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so what I will do is, so I will declared one tables called as Amara, and type table of Mara, sorry, LT Mara. Okay, table of Mara and work area. This is a material master table. Okay, then I will create a select options from which we will be fetching the data. So S Matner for Mara Matner, okay, and one parameter as well. I will declare. So whenever we are using the select options, and this is how it will. If we will not declare this tables Mara, then it will give an error. So since we are referring to the Mara field, that's why we have to use this tables parameter. Okay, and then we have to use this p underscore mtart type Mara material type. Okay, so we have a Metner field and we have a your material type. Then our start of selection event. Okay, here we will use one perform get data first and then perform display data. Okay, instead of write we will use here ALV grid. So when we use this perform, we can use, this is a subroutine as I was discussing yesterday. I will use the same demo program. Inside here I will create my fetch record. Okay, so select star um, from Mara into table LT underscore Mara, where condition I have to give, right? Where Matner in, since it is a table, we have to give in because it's a range, correct? So that's where we have to use this Matner. But in case of the parameter, since it holds a single value, we can use p underscore mtart, sorry, uh, mtart equals to anything whatever we will give it in the p mtart, right? Correct. Okay, by default value, let's say we will take it as default, let's take FERT. That is one type, material type. Based on that, we will take. So by default value of that parameter will be mtart. Okay. So this is our fetching record, and then mtart. Right. Okay. Okay. Then we will do a display data using the ALV grid. Okay. So I will be using the same ALV demo. So in this case, I told you yesterday that, like, when you want to call a function module, so this is a standard function module which is called as reuse ALV grid display. So in order to call that, what you have to do is you have to use the pattern and you have to call this function. So I will use reuse ALV ALV grid display, I guess. Use ALV. There are so many other things as well. List display, grid display, like that. Uh, Let me put ALV grid display. this one, right? So we'll use this. So by default, all the exporting and importing parameters we will have. So I don't need all these parameters, but rather I will use. So, so based on your program requirements and all, you will have to use these parameters. So I will use this. So for the callback program, we have something called as, this is the simplest of usage of the ALV grid display. So in this rep ID, you will have that program name which you want, okay, which we are actually calling for. So this is the program name which will come. This is a system variable which will store this program name, okay. And then we have something called as the structure name, okay. The structure name which we are using is Mara, okay. Let's remove all these things. Let's remove all these things. And our output table is what? LT Mara, correct? LT underscore Mara. So this is for the display, and we don't need any importing parameters as such. So let's see. Okay, we don't need this as well. So now let's see how it looks like. So you understood this point, right? Like, do you want me to debug, or let's debug? Okay. So how, what it does, and let's see. So what we'll do, we will, so first this, okay. Before that, let me change the name of the selection screen parameters. How will I do? I'll go to this and I will use here material, or maybe the standard one. Let's take it. Okay. All right. So in the material, let's say we will take 2454. I'm not sure in the system if we have this material number with this material type, but let's see. Okay. 2454 to 2465. Okay. So it went to the debugger. Okay. First, what it does, it came to the start of selection, perform get data. It comes here. We have some records. Yes. So we have 12 number of records. Now we were using earlier write statement, right? But now we are using this reuse ALV grid display. It's a standard function model which we are using for the grid display, correct? So what we are giving here, so if you see, this is how it will come, correct? Okay. Shrikant, are you able to
Yeah,
understand this? Yeah.
yeah, I got it.
Tabular format which you want to. So by default, these all functionalities are there. Okay. So if you want to add few more functionality also, that also you can do. Okay. So this is one way. Now, this is what is coming like according to whatever. Okay. So let's go there. Okay. So if you see these fields, right, these are the fields which are exact same name as the Mara structure. But now, say for example, you have a project requirement where you don't want the material, like say for example, you don't want to call it as a material, rather you want to call it as, or say for example, you want to give something else called as this project underscore material, right? In that case, by using a field, something called as field catalog concept, you can make use of that, right? So we can use this field catalog, build the field catalog, and then we can pass the same thing to the ALV. Okay. So you can change the name of the columns as well by building a field catalog. Okay, so now let's create something. This was for without any field catalog. Now let's build something with field catalog. Okay. So what I will do is let it be there. So I will create another one. This is the last one. This last program. This is ALV with field catalog. So similarly, you have lot of standard programs inside your SAP GUI which you can refer for this ALV. Maybe what I will do is in our presentation, right? In my presentation, I will tell you all the names of the programs which you refer and which you can debug. Okay, to have a understanding of this ALV grid display. So what all functionalities are there and all. Okay. It's not possible to tell all the functionalities here, but eventually when you work on the projects and anything, so you will get to know. Okay. Tomorrow. So now we will declare a custom structure. Tomorrow. We'll see what all fields we will take. So what we have taken Matner, okay, and we will take the material type. We'll take the MBRSH, okay, the industry sector, MBRSH. Either you can give the data element or you can directly refer the table field, okay, and then the quantity. Okay. So your structure is ready, like table type, and then I'll declare here an internal table of type that table of what is this ty underscore mara, okay, then your work area. The more you practice, the more it will be easier. Okay, so these all things we have already done. So for field catalog, okay, we have to declare some variables which will be of type that standard field catalog. Okay, and also yes, if you remember, I told you that like you will be when you will go for this ALV grid display, you will use something called as pool table, right? So this is the pool table for the ALV thing, which is called as SLIS, right? And let's, since we will use a select options, so let use this now. Okay, so this is one thing. Then for field catalog we'll have to declare a field catalog sorry structure we'll have to declare. So let's say lsfget type slis what was that, slis t underscore field cat ALV. Okay, and Another one is, this one will be the internal type, internal table type.
What's this here?
Yeah. So this is for building the field catalog. So if what I wanted to tell you, let me write the program and I will make you understand what it is.
Oh,
So this is a structure. So if you go and double click on this, okay. So if you see this, correct? So this is of type that's list field catalog ALV. So now what we are trying to do, we built the ALV report right now using the standard structure. Now, if I want to build an ALV catalog using a custom structure, in that case, what we have to do is we have to build the field catalog. For field catalog again, the common thing is what, like how we are developing an internal table and work area. Similarly, for building a field catalog also, we'll have to build its type, like list type, the internal table and the work area. Correct. So when you come inside this, this is the type group and this is the type of that field catalog. Okay. And you have to use this particular slis underscore t underscore field catalog ALV, which I have used it. Correct. So this becomes an internal table type, and then let's create a work area as well. Okay. LT underscore fget. Okay. So either you can use either you can use in this way, like when you are using a you can use an already defined internal table type, or you can use like this, fget type the structure. Okay, the standard structure, which is slis underscore field cat. So when it comes with, when you see here, right? So this is the structure and this is the table type, right? So if you go here, so this includes all this. So if you go inside, deep inside that, so this structure contains this type and this type. Okay. So I will show you in the debugger what all are the contents of this field catalog. So through that field catalog, you can do a lot of things in that option. Okay, through that field catalog. So now this also you can, this way either you can declare or you can declare like this. Okay. So then we create a select options from which we will the user will input the Mara value, right? So s underscore matner for Mara matner. Okay, these all declarations are done. Then start of selection. So I'll show you how, why we need that field catalog. Let me finish this and then we will discuss about this. Perform create field catalog one, and for display another. Okay, this is for, now first is the get data. So let's create the subroutine for this. Okay, please go through yesterday's recording as well, so you will get to know why I'm using this perform. Okay. So select star from Mara into, since I'm using my own custom structure, so what I have to do, I have to use the corresponding fields of, okay, because lt Mara, where my matner is matner in s underscore matner. This is my fetching of the record. Okay. After that, what I have to do is field catalog. I will create my field catalog. Okay. So here, what I have to do is, so as I said, okay, so if you go give us like, first let's clear the field catalog. Let's clear if there is any garbage value or anything, predefined value, and then let's build the field catalog. So if you see, these are all the options for the field catalog, correct? So first what I have to do is, in which position my first field will be given, right? So I'll give 1. Okay. Then fcat, I'll have to give my field name. right? Which field name I have to give the first. So this one will be Matner, correct? Then, so if you like, what you do is just try this in one program and then try this, okay, and then you compare, because the Matner and all the fields which were coming in the ALV grid, it was referring to the structure Mara directly, but here I am building the field catalog, how it will display in my output, correct? So now fcat, then we'll have to give the table name, correct, which will be your LT Mara, this Mara. Earlier what we gave Mara, correct? But now we are giving LT underscore Mara, because this is a custom structure which I am trying to. So in the codes you'll always have to give in caps, okay? Then we have something called as a reference field name, okay? Reference field name, okay? So reference field name will be Matner. Similarly, your reference tab name would be what? The standard table, correct? Which is Mara. And then I will define a text. Here is where you can define your own text, okay? So cell text. So there is something called a cell text M, cell text L, something like that. Okay. So this is the, if you remember, in the data element, there was something called as small, medium, long, right? Similar is the concept here. Okay. So you can give here, can you tell me some material number, or how do you want to display it? Like project material, I was telling you, right? Project underscore material. Instead of material number, I will display it like a project material number. Okay,
I
material
have a question here.
number. Yes.
When we are fetching the Matner, why we have to give the position and the reference field name?
Correct. So, but see, even if you don't give this thing, it is not required also. Okay. I'm just telling you why, because earlier we gave the Mara structure here. So what it was doing, it didn't take any reference. It directly took the reference of the standard table, and it gave all the field names what is there in the Mara. So if you go to Mara, okay, and then display the table, if you see this table, whatever field names are there, it was exactly replicating the same thing, right? The same names, whatever it is there. If you go to your SE16N, just check this, okay, and let's display this. So exact this grid display it was displaying, correct? Now what I am trying to do is, instead of material number, I am using my own field catalog, okay, my own custom structure, my own internal table, and instead of material number, I will just give the name as project material number, but the reference would be of type. Why I am giving the reference? Because this will be of type that Mara material number. So that means the data element would be same, okay, and the character would be same, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Any doubt?
No.
Okay.
Got it.
Then yeah, then you have to give this something called as key. This is okay, and you can also, there is something called as hotspot. Okay, I'll show you what is the meaning of this hotspot in that like once it display, but as of now I'm just keeping it, and then I will display, I'll show you how it works. Okay, fcat 2. Now I have built the work area for this one, and then I will append it to LTF fcat, correct? Okay. Similarly, again, what, since I have taken 4 fields, I have to do it same for the other things as well, right? So I will just copy it and change the names accordingly for other 4 fields, right? clear WA underscore fcat, clear WA underscore fcat. Okay, so first is Matner, then position 2. The position 2 will be your MTAT, correct? Material type, and here I will just use the tab name is Altimara, and let's not give any reference name or reference field. As I said, it's not required as such, but here I will just give here material type. Okay, material type, material type, and that's it, material type, and then append. It's not required here, this key and hotspot. Okay, so the next part is similarly position 3. Okay, it was MBRSH, right? MBRSH Altimara, it's not required. Okay, and the text would be your industry sector, and this is also not required. Okay, similarly, the last one is at the position 4. You can also change the positions like this. Like if you want the industry sector to appear in the second, you can give like that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and this is the
MEIS.
MEI,
MEIS.
yeah, which is the quantity, sorry, material unit, correct? So, Altimara and reference name is not required. And here you can give like unit. I'll give just unit, okay? No need to do this. And in this case, one thing is this part is also required, correct? So I'll append it, clear, then again append it, clear, and then again append it. My field catalog is ready now. Okay, clear w underscore get. Okay, that's it. So this is done. Then what I have to do is my final part, which is the display. So for display, again I will call this grid display. Okay, I'm just copying it from here itself. Okay, so here again the same thing, side ID, but here instead of the, okay, there is something called, okay, maybe you will need, okay, let me call it, it's better. Okay, so I do not need this callback program. Callback program is side app ID. This is always important. We have to give because the current program it has to take. But there is something called as IT field cat, right? So I have to give pass my LT field cat here, correct? LT underscore fcat. Okay, and in my output, it's not required. These all things are not, which are not required. You don't have to define it. First is callback program, build catalog, and the output is what was the value of that output? LT Mara, right? LT Mara. Okay. So let's see if there is any pretty printer. So let's debug it. Okay. So before debug, let's see whether it is coming in that way, whatever we wanted. Fine. Can you see the difference of that one? And see here the project material number, material type, industry sector, and unit. Okay. And if you see, I have created a hotspot here. Okay. So that means it is creating an underline of that. Correct. So wherever I have created the hotspot, so let's say if I remove that hotspot here, okay, let's remove the hotspot, and the key is required because one field we need it. But anyway, let's remove it and let's see how it looks like. So this is how it will be. But if you want to specifically, create a hotspot on this project material number, then you have to create a hotspot. But if you see the name of this thing, this is how I have changed it. Correct. So this is
Only
where your,
those four fields will be coming.
yeah, because my custom structure is of those four fields, right? If you want
Right.
more fields, you can create
Yeah.
more fields as well. Correct.
Okay.
These
Yeah.
four fields only I have given in my field catalog.
Right.
If you want more fields, you can display it in the more fields. Correct. Any doubt?
No, I got it.
Yeah. So this is it. This is all about your events and ALV grid. And in the next class, we will discuss about your BAPI and the interfaces. Okay. I hope you understood today's session.